Hey, Cavs fans. Welcome to the Cavs Pick and Roll Podcast, the podcast for diehard fans by diehard fans. I'm Alex, and I'm here with Corey. What's up, Corey?
Alex, I was so ready to jump on this episode and be celebrating the Cavs clinching the number one seed with a few games left to go. Um, man. But we have to wait a little bit longer because unfortunately they ran into a red hot Sacramento Kings team tonight, Alex. Crazy.
Red hot Sacramento team, red hot officiating.
Yeah. That's your theory, huh? You
Red
sticking to
hot steaming pile of BS.
Yeah. Man,
With
but
that
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 what
late Zach LaVine layup after the buzz, I don't understand why they didn't review that, why they didn't take those points off.
Yeah. I
It
don't know.
wasn't even all that close.
No, it wasn't. But yeah, I mean, home game Sunday, just 4 games left to go. I was ready to secure that number one seed, and just let the next week go by. No worries, nothing like that. I think the Cavs are still going to do it, Alex, but they're going to have to wait a little bit longer. And yeah, Zach LaVine, man. I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but it was either today or yesterday. It was over this weekend. I just saw a stat come up that since the Zach LaVine trade from Chicago to Sacramento, like they showed the record of Chicago after trading him, which was above 500, and they showed the Kings record since they acquired Zach LaVine below 500. And tonight he goes off for 37 points and drops, 7 threes on you, basically. I think he went 11 for 11 at one point, after he missed his first two before he missed another shot or whatever. So, man, he was the difference, in my opinion. He was
Yeah.
really one of the big differences. I mean, most games he's not going to have a game like that.
I think that Kings team is a lot better than their record portrays. I mean, you got Zach LaVine, Sabonis,
Yeah.
DeRozan,
Yeah.
Valanciunas is still there.
Yeah.
I mean, they got some great players.
Yeah. And DeRozan, too, you know, he's only like a 30% 3-point shooter. At least that's what we were saying during the broadcast or whatever. And he had some really tough shots, too. And we were talking before we started recording, I'm not going to totally fault him or anything like that, but Sam Merrill got a lot of bad matchups between DeRozan and Levine where, he's given up some inches and they were just able to pull up over top of him and make a lot more shots than what they typically would on a typical night. The Kings are playing for something, though, as a lot of teams are right now. They're fighting for seeding too, and out there in the West, it's much more close than what it is over here in the East. And so they're jockeying for position. So they gave the Cavs everything they had tonight, and we're probably going to see that here these last couple games with the teams we have playing. They're playing for something. So the Cavs got to be ready and find a way to win to lock up that number one seed here soon.
Yeah. So I hear you bagging on my guy, Sam Merrill.
Yeah.
Who do you think Kenny should have given more minutes to in that
You know what?
case?
I think Okuro just lately over this stretch since the last time we recorded and now he's had some really great moments in games. And in the first half, he was doing things. He's all over the place. He's getting rebounds, putbacks, taking threes, just out there energizing. Energizing the crowd, energizing the team. And Okuro gives you a little bit more muscle, a little bit more height, a little bit more athleticism. And again, I like Sam a lot, but he also wasn't really giving you anything on the offensive end either. You know what I mean? So he wasn't able to give you a lot on the defensive end. I think he had one nice block. I forget on who it was. Sam Merrill blocked somebody from behind. But, he wasn't able to really get the three ball going. And I would have put a Curl back out there or even Ty Jerome, who, yes, would have been giving up inches as well. But Ty Jerome's a little bit more pesky of a defender. And how about Ty, though? It was nice seeing him back. He missed the last 5 games, Alex, before this one.
Yeah, Ty looked great. He had quite a number of offensive possessions where he pretty much bailed us out as the shot clock got close, and Ty's always good for that.
I would have kept riding Ty, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
They took him out, kind of brought the starters back in, brought Strus back in and stuff like that. But I was relieved when I saw, a post earlier in the morning that he was going to play today. So I was like, man, Ty hasn't played. Really haven't heard. His injury status was upgraded a couple games ago to something that sounded a little bit more scary. And I was like, man, if he misses again, like, what's going on? You know what I mean? So it was nice to have him back. And yeah, he put up 20 points or so in a little over 20 minutes, 22 minutes, something like that. He's a game changer when he's out on the floor,
Yeah.
and he's just really fun to watch.
Both him and Hunter, man, they were just such great additions to this team.
Yeah.
It's man, they could be starters somewhere else. It's a blessing that we have them coming off the bench. Either one could be fifth man of the year.
Yeah. I was just thinking that both of them qualify for sixth man of the year for sure, and that's gonna
Sixth man. Did I say fifth
sixth man.
man?
You said fifth
Yeah.
man. Yeah, yeah. Come playoff time, that should pay dividends, right? Yeah, I'm with you, Hunter. Hunter, you know what surprises me the most? He's a much better 3-point shooter than what I was anticipating. He knocks a lot of them down, you know. So in today's NBA, you're always going to take that, right? Another guy that can help stretch the floor out there. And yeah, between the two of them, that's 31 points off the bench right there. Not a lot of teams around the NBA are going to be able to match that production,
Right.
across their whole
And,
bench.
yeah, and that's kind of one of the things, you talked about Okoro and how great he's been, and he's another guy that he's just been on from the 3-point range. I
Yeah,
mean, he's always good to knock him down. And I remember back when we first got Okoro, his first few seasons, and he was our defensive specialist, and that's pretty much all he was. He had it almost seemed like zero offensive game, and
right.
last season and this season, he's really stepped it up, man. He's added quite a few bags of tricks, shots, uh, to his skill set. He can hit that three. He's playing more aggressive. He gets to the hoop quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I see Kenny only gave him 18 minutes. He gave Okoro 18 minutes and Merrill 16 minutes.
Yeah,
Okoro was plus 20 when he was in the game. So yeah, why
right.
why didn't Kenny ride Okoro a little more? I don't
I would have
know.
rode. Yep, I would
It,
have rode a curl a little bit more, especially when Sam, was struggling. I don't even know how many shots he got up this game, but yeah, I mean, Sam can get red hot. We've all seen it, and when that happens, you ride Sam. But this was a game where you had two bigger, players between DeRozan and Levine that were kind of, taking advantage, and you needed a bigger body out there, in my opinion, at that point.
Hunter was actually minus 28. I don't know how much stock you put in these plus and minus numbers, but
Yeah,
he was
yeah,
the big deficit this game.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, another thing that really kind of hurt us this game, besides Levine and DeRozan going off, is Garland wasn't able to get going at all this game.
Well, Garland
32
and Mitchell
minutes.
couldn't hit a
Yeah,
three to save their lives.
yeah.
Garland 1 for 7, Mitchell 1 for 6.
But when's the last time you've seen a single digit game out of Garland? He finishes with 9 points, 32 minutes, 7 assists. So, if he gets your standard 18 to 25 points, 23 points or whatever, it's a different ball game as well. So woulda, coulda, shoulda. At the end of the day, the Cavs needed to do a better defensive job, on those two guys. Sabonis helped chipped in as well. We don't get to see him, too many times throughout the year. He's tough, man. He's an elite player. And look at these guys. What's crazy is, if you're looking at the box score, Alex, look at their minutes. How many minutes versus like the Cavs? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players, 40 minutes or more on the Kings, to where
Mm-hmm.
our highest, you know, minute total was 33 minutes by Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley.
Right.
So again, the Kings, they're playing for something. They're playing for, a little bit more the position game than what the Cavs are. The Cavs are just trying to secure and lock up the number one seed.
Yeah, and
Uh,
Kenny's been doing that all
yeah.
season with the Cavs, making sure that
Yep.
our starters only play, 32 to 35 minutes a night, which has helped us keep, we've been mostly pretty healthy, knock on wood, all season.
Yeah, and I saw a stat thrown up during the game, actually, where the Cavs are. I think it was 28th in the NBA of total minutes played by their starters, which is crazy to think about, considering how successful the Cavs have been, the number of wins that they've had, the fact that they've had, the East in a stranglehold all season long. To do that and to basically not even be in the top half of the league as far as starter minutes is really impressive. And he just said, knock on wood, we've been healthy and all that stuff. Ty Jerome just comes back. There was a little bit of a scare with Donovan Mitchell in this game, Alex.
Yeah,
A little
yeah,
bit.
a little bit. He had a little bit of a. It looked like an ankle roll. Um, he had a layup at one end, and he kind of landed a little funny, and
Yeah.
then he was running back to the other end, and I can't remember. Somebody gave him a push. Was it DeRozan? I think, or maybe it wasn't even a push. He stepped
I
on
don't think it was
DeRozan's
a push.
heel or
I
Ellis's
think
heel.
it was Ellis.
Yeah,
They were back by half court. The ball's already up, by the free throw line or whatever. They were kind of just trailing the play. And I don't know if Ellis like slowed down, like so like Mitchell would run into him or walk into him a little bit, but Mitchell kind of stepped on the back of Ellis's foot and
and
kind of
then
just
went
tweaked it,
tumbling over.
and then went tumbling out
I
of
just
bounds,
see a
and he just
yellow
hit him in the
foot go
ground.
through the air in the bottom
Yeah,
corner of the screen. It's like,
yeah,
what is Mitchell doing down there?
it was
Rolling
crazy,
down the
but
court.
with just 4 games left now, the worst thing that can happen is, something like that where an injury happens to a major player on the Cavs. So glad he was able to come back in. And what's crazy, Alex, is the Kings started to pull away a little bit, and the end of the third quarter, I think they had an 11 or 12-point lead, and the Cavs come out firing in the fourth quarter. Not firing, but they had 3-and-1s in a row, 3 layups and a foul, and made their free throws in a row, and we're right back in the game. That's when Ty Jerome's in there doing his thing. Ty Jerome at one point made a shot for the Cavs to take the lead, and I'm like, okay, here we go, right? We're gonna find a way to break this game open a little bit, take control of this game. Mitchell's back. There's no way Mitchell's going to lose this. I'm thinking these guys want to lock up this 1 seed and be done with it, right? Kings just kept on hitting shots. Zach LaVine just kept pulling up.
Mm-hmm.
DeRozan just pulling up, and just too much for the Cavs.
Ellis had a few threes that were kind of
Yeah.
backbreakers every time we make a run.
Yeah.
We just couldn't get it done. And then
And the refs, there's some
just gonna
calls
say,
there, and Christie, Doug Christie, who took over Mike Brown after Mike Brown was fired, which I think we mentioned last time we recorded. He had 2 coaches challenges in this game, and he won both of them too.
which I was surprised by one of them for
Yeah,
sure. It's like, really?
Yeah. So at the end of the day, I mean, Cavs just didn't have enough to get it done. You know, again, I thought Ty Jerome played really well. Outside of that, nobody else did anything super spectacular. Jared Allen, 17 points. Mobley, 16 points. Rebounding wasn't as strong as what it usually is. And the 3-ball wasn't either for the Cavs this game. Also other factors, I thought. Missed some free throws too, Alex, as well. 11 for 19.
Yeah. I mean, they've been struggling these past few games, and I think it's just to me, it's the 3-point shooting. They were red hot from 3 all season.
Yeah.
And just this past month, it's been pretty ugly.
Do you think they're just ready to just be there, just be at the play? Like, is it at that point? Like think about, we work, you got Christmas break coming up. You take the last 2 weeks off from the year. It's December 10th. You got 5 days to go and you're done for, like, you just want to be done. You just want to be there. Is that, you think that's potentially what's going on with the Cavs? Kind of lack of focus or inconsistency lately, or have we kind of seen this for a little while now?
I hope that's what it is.
Yeah,
I hope they're just kind of in coast mode because they're ready for the off season. I think we all are. It's really just
playoff
dragging.
season, not off season.
Yeah.
We don't want to go home anytime
playoffs.
soon.
And I'm tired. It's late.
Yeah. First it was the 5th man, then it was the off season. One more, and
Yeah, I think we're all just ready to be in the playoffs right now. Like, this regular season's just dragging on and on.
Yeah. It's been fun though, man. I mean, the Cavs. It's interesting because, like I said, there really hasn't been much drama that West Coast trip that wasn't too long ago from the last time we recorded was unfortunately their worst stretch of basketball, and the most dramatic thing that has really kind of happened this year was that stretch of bad basketball on the West Coast. So, I think we're all at the point where we just want to see meaningful basketball games, and the ones that actually mean something are playoffs. And I'm looking forward to getting there as well. And, talking about first round matchups and, kind of everything that's on, at stake for this Cavs team, certain legacies, Donovan Mitchell's legacy, he can definitely elevate his legacy if the Cavs were able to go all the way. I mean, you'd make a lot of people, you'd make a lot of names, household names, on this Cavs roster if the Cavs can go deep into the playoffs this year. So I'm hoping they're in coast mode as well, but at the same time, you know, we have seen some issues for a little while now. Um, they got to correct them, and they got to correct them here very soon, because in the playoffs, you can't afford to make mistakes for too long. So
Right. I think they just haven't been playing as physical as they were earlier in the season. I don't know. They just haven't been moving the ball as much. They haven't been knocking down the three like they were. I'm hoping it's just coasting, but yeah, we won't know until the season starts. And I think they'll kick it up another gear. I'm not too
yeah,
worried.
yeah, no, I'm not. I'm
It'll
not
be
worried at all
interesting
either.
to see who they end up against in this first round. And I know the Cavs have already released tickets. They're doing a pre-sale for the first round
Yes,
tickets. So if you're interested in
yes,
going to a game, you can already get your seats.
yep, yep, for sure. So let's move on to the next game. Their last win, which was against the San Antonio Spurs. And Alex, in this game, they did come out firing early from the 3 point line. This game, Evan Mobley came out the first quarter red hot, had three threes, um, had a dunk, had a block, he was all over the place. I forget what he finished the first quarter. Had 19 points by the half. The Cavs chucked up 51 3 pointers this game, hit 22 of them, and everybody was hitting in that first quarter. They really kind of jumped out on the Spurs early, put up 38 points in the first half or first quarter. But you know how it is, man. It's an NBA game. They're long games, Alex, and teams are going to go on runs. And what the Cavs ended up winning this game, um, not barely,
Yeah, barely
uh,
by luck.
by luck. Yeah, yeah, they kind of got a little lucky with this one. But what kind of jumped out at you, or what do you remember from this game? It was a couple days ago over the weekend here,
The
but out
only
in
thing
San
I
Antonio.
the only thing I really remember about the game is that final second. I think it wasn't it Harrison Barnes that
Yeah,
laid it up with half a second left
yeah,
for the go ahead win, and he botched it.
yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I remember most about it. It's like, oh my gosh, the Cavs just completely dodged a bullet.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, Man, there was like 3.5 minutes left, and we were up like 10 or something like that. I'm like, all right, it's done, right? And I started getting ready for bed or whatever, thinking, it's done, whatever. And I, I come back down. I'm like, whoa, what the heck's going on here? This game's kind of close, and yeah, the Cavs definitely dodged a bullet that game. But besides that, what stood out to me was Evan Mobley. The Spurs had no answer for Evan Mobley. Finished with 25 and 12 in 37 minutes. And granted, again, it's the Spurs. There's no Wemby out there waiting for him. There's no elite center over there. But I was like, I really hope this is the Evan we see during this playoff run, and we're gonna need to see him a lot for the Cavs to go to where they ultimately want to go. And it's nothing new. Evan's been doing this throughout the season. It's what got him, an all-star visit this year. But that's what I was thinking. I was like, Evan Mobley, like this is what I want to see come playoff time,
Yeah,
because
he's
it
got
was it
that
was a great
3 point
performance.
shot down.
It's
He
crazy,
can
isn't it?
knock him down. Yeah, it's crazy. It's such a
Because
he's got such long arms. It's kind of a crazy looking. shot, but
It's
man, it's
like
smooth. He
I
hits
don't
it.
have faith in it yet though. Like every time he
Yeah,
raises up, I'm like, no,
yeah.
and then it's like, oh, okay,
It's like you're expecting a Dwight Howard 3-pointer, but no,
some Sean
Mobley's
Marion
got it,
stuff.
man.
Nah, Dwight Howard. Jeez. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the
Uh,
Spurs. I mean, it's over a very very young team.
yeah.
They got Chris Paul, ancient Chris Paul out there, but that's pretty much
Very
it.
young. And then you say very young, and then you go with the guy who's retiring after
Yeah,
this year
the
after playing
veteran.
20 years. What do you think
Yeah,
about Chris Paul,
did he
man?
say he's retiring? I didn't hear that.
I've seen it. I've seen it pop up.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. April Fool's was just a couple days ago, so maybe it was an April Fool's joke. But you
They
were
got
you what do you think of Chris Paul? Were you a Chris Paul guy? Did you like him? You hate him? Didn't care?
Nah, I don't
Just
really
just
care. I was never
yeah,
really a Chris Paul fan.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah. I mean, he never. Listen, he was great when he was on the Hornets. Great career, But yeah, I mean, he wasn't someone. If you ask me who was top 3 point guards, top 5 point guards, I'm sure statistically he was probably in that category at some point in his career, but my mind would never just pick Chris Paul as one of the top three. There would
Yeah,
always be somebody else. You know what I
yeah. I
mean?
never really followed him. I know him best as LeBron's buddy on the what was that, the
Banana
banana
boat,
boat? Yeah, banana boat buddy.
banana
So
boat buddy. Jeez,
Chris Paul, sorry buddy.
Chris Paul, man, banana boat buddy legend.
Yeah,
The game before this one though, and then we'll probably I don't know how much probably you want to go back, but um they did beat up on the Knicks pretty good,
yeah.
Alex,
I was
which
gonna
was the
say we
game
got to
before the
talk about the
Spurs.
next game a little bit.
The,
Getting
the,
a win against the Knicks always feels good, no matter what.
always, always, and they were on the second night of a back to back. Didn't have Brunson. Don't pay attention, don't know, but he was in street clothes. But anytime we can stick it to the Knicks, I don't care. It feels good, and I still always forget that they have Carl Anthony Towns on that team, who actually was the best player on their team, finished with 25 points. Um, but yeah, this was a fun game, a game where the Knicks came out red hot on the Cavs. But then come the second half, the Cavs just took over, Alex, and just took control of the game. And speaking of Towns, Allen had an amazing block on Towns when he was going up for a dunk. That really the momentum was already kind of shifting in the Cavs' favor, like that we were going to basically lock up that game soon. And that block was like, okay, it's at the point now where this game is out of hand for the Knicks. They're not going to come back.
Yeah,
But
I think it's that how do they come out of halftime? How are they going to do in the third
yeah,
quarter? That's what I always look at, because sometimes they come into that third quarter and they just completely lay an egg, and then we end up losing the game, or they come out firing and red hot in that third quarter, and we blow them out. I mean, you look at that. This Kings game we just watched tonight, and the game before that. Uh, that
Spurs.
that that we lost. Who was it? We were just talking about it. Anyway, we just completely lay an egg in the third quarter and blow it. It seems to that kind of follows us around the past few seasons. However, we do in the third quarter.
I feel like that goes back even before this whole squad, this whole core four. Like that even happened back in like the LeBron days at certain points, where like just third quarter woes and stuff like that, going back
Yeah,
to Big Z days and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm always nervous how they're going to come out of the half, but in this Knicks game, they came out red hot, locked them up on defense, and the Knicks had no answer at that point. So it was a very satisfying win. Um, you know, a couple years ago, both teams are starting to rise up in the ranks in the East. The Cavs have taken that leap into championship contenders. The Knicks are still, a top four, top five team in the league, but you can clearly see the difference between the two. And that's after the Knicks made all the moves that they did in the offseason. And again, Just because you add a bunch of players to a team doesn't automatically mean they're all going to gel, they're all going to fit, or it's going to work. And it's still crazy to me that the Cavs have had the success they did because they didn't do what everybody wanted them to do a year ago, which was break up that core four. I mean, we even talked about it. I think there was points last year where we were ready to either trade Allen or Garland just to try to switch it up because it really wasn't working, but it was also injuries, a lot of remember how many different starting lineups it was? Like it wasn't really the players' fault. They weren't really playing together. But this team has been together for a couple years now, both on and off the court, and it finally is paying off now. So for the Knicks, they have a lot of talent on that team. They could be a very scary team here in another year or two. But I think that's the difference maker between Cleveland and the Knicks. And the fact that we played them in that playoff series and lost to them a couple years ago, it's all in the back of our minds. So like we said, anytime we can stick it to the Knicks, that's
Yeah,
all day.
I remember when that happened, and it was kind of like pretty disappointing because it's like, oh, how did the Knicks kind of
Yeah.
basically rebuild quicker than we did? Or
Yeah.
you know, I mean, they had Brunson, we had
They don't
Garland,
have Hartenstein anymore, so nothing to
yeah,
fear anymore, Alex. Nothing to fear anymore. Oh man. So yeah, I mean the Cavs, that West Coast trip, a little while back kind of tarnishes things a little bit. Maybe if they would have won a game or two on that West Coast trip, we would have already secured the number one seed. I think you were looking we're like 6-6 out of the last 12 or something like that, or you know, around 500 ball to the last 12, 13 games,
yep,
which is still, again, we're in a much different scenario than a lot of teams around the league to where 6-6, right now, 500 ball wouldn't be good enough. You know, we're still four games up because Boston won tonight. They played the Wizards. We're still 4 games up on the Celtics with 4 games to go. So the likelihood of us still not securing the number one seed, never say never, but the Cavs still have very good odds to finish at the top of the East, and what an accomplishment that'll be. Um, I heard that the last time they finished the number one seed was the championship year back in 2015, 2016. And I also heard, Alex, this is the first 60 plus win season in a non LeBron Cavs team, which is kind of crazy to me. Like I almost wanted to go, I didn't, but I almost wanted to go back and fact check that. Like you're telling me Mark Price, they never had a 60 win season. Come on now.
yeah. I kind of want to look now too. I
I
wonder,
want to look.
they
Like
had to
they
have
must have had
gotten
a lot of
close.
50 win, like 50, 55, 57, 58 win seasons. But that's pretty crazy. But at the end of the day, that's good, man, because this core four, this era is writing its own history. And now it's time to see how far they're gonna be able to go in the playoffs. But Alex, their next game is against a team that unfortunately is playing their best basketball of the year, 12 of 16, 12 wins out of the last 16 games. The Chicago Bulls come to town Tuesday night. Potential first round matchup as well, because they're right down there in that 7, 8, 9, 10 area, which we'll talk more about here in a minute. But the Cavs finished the season against the Bulls, then the Pacers, the Knicks, and the Pacers again. I was looking at the standings, Alex. The Bulls are definitely playing for something.
Mm-hmm.
The Knicks have a little bit of wiggle room. They're not going to catch the Celtics because they're about 8.5 games behind the Celtics, and they have a 3-game lead on the Pacers. So that could get interesting. But both those teams, all three of those teams that we play the rest of this year, all could potentially be playing for something,
Yeah,
which does make me a little bit nervous,
they're
right?
they're they're all playoff teams, so
Yeah, they're all playoff teams. So the Cavs, I think they're going to want to come out and find a way to win that game against the Bulls Tuesday night, so they can kind of shut it down the remainder of the way. Um, at least that's what I'm hoping they're going to do,
I
because
don't
the
know.
next two are on the road, and then the last game's at home against the Pacers.
I don't. Yeah, I hope so, but I don't know if they will. I don't know if they're still coasting through the end of the season and don't really care who the opponent is. or maybe they'll hold back and don't want the opponent to see their whole bag of tricks. I don't know. I don't know how they'll play it.
Well, here's why this makes me a little nervous, Alex. Celtics schedule for the remainder of the year. They actually play the Knicks next Tuesday night. Then they play the Magic, okay? And then they finish their last two games of the season both against the Hornets. So, either we need the Knicks or the Magic to beat the Celtics, or the Cavs got to figure out a way to win one of these games, which I think they're going to do. But let's just finish it on Tuesday night against Chicago. No funny business. You know what I mean? Like, rest your starters for the last 2-3 games of the year, lock up that one seed, and then that way it's done. But that's what's ahead for both the Cavs and the Celtics. And it's always fun this time of year, though, to kind of watch how the playoff races and seedings, finish out.
Yeah, it still looks like we're ahead on Boston by 4 games. I don't know if this is including tonight, but
Yeah, it is, because we were 5 games ahead this morning, so it is including tonight. And the Celtics and Cavs split the season series at 2-2, I believe. So if the Cavs were to lose all four and the Celtics were to win all four, I'm not sure what the next tiebreaker is. I have to look that up, or hopefully I don't have to look that up and we don't get in that scenario. But yeah, we
I don't
will.
think there's any way we lose all four.
I
There's
don't
no
think so
way.
either. I
Yeah.
don't think so either. But it'll just make me feel better, personally, me, Alex. If they could just take care of a
I
Tuesday
hope they
night,
make you feel better.
so I could just celebrate, and yeah,
Yeah.
we could be good. We could be good. So let's look at these bottom of the East standings, kind of at the bottom. Assuming the Cavs do finish the 1 seed, Alex, in the 7th seed is the Magic. They're not going to catch the Pistons. The Pistons got a 5-game lead on them. You got the Hawks at the 8th seed, the Bulls at the 9 seed, the Heat at the 10 seed. Funny enough, all those teams are like 1 game away from the seed in front of them. So the Magic, the Hawks are a game behind the Magic, the Bulls are a game behind the Hawks, and the Heat are a game behind the Bulls. So with 4 games left in the season, a lot of movement can happen there at the bottom of the East before they do the play-in tournament. Do any of those teams at all scare you, or is there any of those teams that you would prefer to play at this point, or are you not worried about a single one of them?
Um, I don't know that I'm worried about playing any of those teams. I think playing against some of those teams might be a little more exciting than others.
Mm-hmm.
Orlando Magic, we kind of struggled with that last game. They're always a fun matchup, so I think that would be a fun series to watch, but also
Yeah.
dangerous.
Yes. Yes.
The Heat are just too inconsistent for me to be concerned about at all. The Bulls Hawks, you never know. They're both playing pretty good basketball right now, especially the Bulls. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. If I had to pick a team that I would like to be matched up with, it'd be the Hawks. The Hawks would be the one out of those four that least kind of scare me. Yeah, they got Trey Young and his still bad hair. But I'm not worried about the Hawks. At the same time, though, any team, again, you're going to get a different version of these teams throughout the entire playoffs, right? Because again, it's win or go home. They're going to give you your all. We're an 8th seed. What do we have to lose? So on and so forth. Um, but it's going to be fun here. The next time we record, the season will be done. Put out an episode here. The season will be done. We'll know who are matched up against. We can kind of break down that matchup a little bit more and talk about it. Um, and also kind of the rest of the playoff seeding and kind of how all that works out as well. But it's gonna be fun, Alex. Here finishing up the season and kind of just see where the chips fall.
the play in tournament is going to be pretty fun between these 4 teams. I'll say that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
I do like the play in tournament, but I do miss those kind of bottom couple teams jockeying for positions strategically, depending on, do they want to play the number one team or the number two team? I do kind of miss that a little bit. Like, I wonder, if these four teams, the Magic, Hawks, Bulls, Heat, like, which one of them would be maybe thinking they should lose a game to play the Cavs as opposed to winning a game and playing the Celtics? Like, I wonder
Yeah.
if any of them have that mindset.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure.
Are teams more afraid of matching up against the Celtics than they are the Cavs? I just wonder. Probably with the, this past month of performance.
Yeah. That's very possible. And the Celtics, have been turning it on at the right time. They're 9-1 on their last 10 now. And yeah, absolutely. If you're one of those bottom teams, both those matchups are scary, but I'm sure those fan bases, those local reporters and radio shows, they're all saying, well, we would, we would match up better with this team because of this and this. So it's very well possible. But I'm like you. I kind of just miss, just, hey, this is the seeding, this is how it is. And I'm a little bit biased too because the play-in tournament hasn't been around for that long. It's got to be under 5 years, I would think, right?
I
Maybe
would
this is
think so. Yeah.
like this is like the fourth year, maybe or so. Um, but I just have a bad taste in my mouth from when the Cavs lost two play-in tournament
Mm-hmm.
games and missed the playoffs. That 1 year, like the first or second year that the play-in tournament existed. So I still think about that. I'm like, nope, don't want that. I'm good. I'm
Yeah,
good.
and they were playing such good basketball too, so it was
I
just
know
bewildering that they would
that they
lose
lost.
two in a row. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that
dude,
was
that
that was that
that
was
does
tough.
still kill me.
Yeah, it does. It does. And then you have the Knicks series the next year. So, but this has been a journey for the Cavs, right? Miss the playoffs with two play-in, losses, get smashed and stunned by the Knicks, make it to the second round last year, and really, played better than what most people give you credit for against the Celtics, considering all the scenarios that were going on at that point. And now again, the Cavs have an opportunity to elevate even further this year. And yeah, it starts with locking up that one seed and dialing in and just beating up on that first round series. Make it as fast as you can. Take advantage, get some rest. I'm pumped. I'm excited. Like, meaningful basketball is finally almost here, Alex. It's
Yeah,
great.
yeah, and I'll be disappointed if they don't reach the finals. I mean, they played,
Absolutely.
4 months of just bang out, blowout basketball. I
It,
mean,
it
the
would it
bar
would
is
it
set
would
very high. Like, they absolutely dominated, blowing
yeah,
teams out by 20, 30 points for November, December, January, February,
right.
and now they're struggling right as we go into the playoffs. So, yeah, yeah, I my expectations are very high. Uh,
Yeah.
Man,
I think
I'll be
everybody's
super
is.
disappointed if we're
Yeah,
not
I think
back
I
to the
think
form of,
everybody's expectations are very
yeah,
high, and anything less than a finals trip, which is kind of crazy to say that. Like, it's not easy getting to the NBA finals. It's not, but that's everybody's expectations, and we all know who we're gonna have to go through to get there. It's gonna be a hell of a series, you know. One, we got to get there, meaning the Boston Celtics series, and two, you got to find a way to get past them. So it's going to be quite the challenge, and the Cavs got to be dialed in both mentally and physically, and it's going to be a fun, next couple months of basketball for Cavs fans, hopefully.
yeah. One other little bit of news was that the Cavs filled their final roster spot. They signed Chuma Okeke.
Alex was
I,
practicing that name before we started
I
recording.
did look up how to pronounce it. Chuma
what can
Okeke.
what can you tell me about this gentleman that we
He's
that we signed?
a 6'7" power forward, selected 16th overall by the Orlando Magic in the 2019 NBA draft. He missed his entire rookie season with an injury.
Ah,
He played, let's see, 4 years with the Magic, and he spent most of the current season in the G League, averaging 17 points, 8 rebounds, 4.5 assists. So playing pretty well in the G League. I don't see him getting. I don't know if he'll get any minutes at all. You
No,
know,
no.
so
He might play. He might play that final game, that
if there's any
good old
garbage
fan
time,
appreciation game.
yeah,
You know, as long as that game doesn't mean anything or matter, right? And that's a maybe, right? But I think a lot of Cavs fans probably didn't even realize or kind of forgot they even had an open roster spot to begin with. And no matter who they would have filled that spot with, because some folks, and I would have been one of them, don't get me wrong, like I would have went out and got a veteran just in case, a backup big and I don't know, give me some vet, just to have there. But at the end of the day, that person wasn't going to play, not in meaningful basketball here the rest of the way. But good for
yep,
him, man. I mean, he gets paid to have courtside seats to watch the Cavs win an NBA championship this year, Alex. It's
probably
pretty
even gets
cool.
a Cavs jersey, some swag.
Yeah, and he's making probably more money than you and me combined in a full work year. So,
Yeah, you got that right.
so yeah, it's all good. It's all good. But Cavs fans want to thank you as always for tuning in and listening. And Alex, you want to let them know where they can follow us and connect with us.
Follow us on Twitter at Cavs Pick and Roll. Shoot us an email, cavspickandroll@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr. Watch this episode on YouTube. Wherever you're listening, watching. Click like, subscribe, leave us a rating or a review. We'd appreciate it.
All right, Cavs fans, there it is. We will talk to you again soon.
Peace out, Cavs fans.